2017, we celebrated our 71st Independence Day. But I would like to know from you, sir, have you witnessed the first Independence Day of our nation, 1947? And how old were you then? You must be a child still, I suppose, but how old were you?
Nice question, Swati. It's exactly to be precise, I was 10 year and 8 months old.
Okay.
On
That's pretty young.
15th of August 1947. I was in 4th standard there in Betul, Madhya Pradesh.
Okay.
And we had preparations going on, our teachers and other students, and we all were enthusiastically preparing for the day nearly 2 weeks in advance. I remember my father was who was working for central government those days, had a British boss as his chief of the. So he wasn't very sympathetic for this independence.
Okay.
So when I asked him that I must have new clothes for 15th August with nice white shirt and white shirt pants and all that, because I would be putting on a small Tiranga flag on my shirt, and I would be included in the procession of the school for that day. We were being trained by the teachers for nearly 2 weeks to have those Prabhat ferries, Prabhat ferries which used to be in the morning. So as soon as we reached school, the teachers would make us stand in a row, and we would sort of really rehearse it for that 15th August function. So that is what was that. I remember that very well. We enjoyed the whole day there.
Oh, that's wonderful. But I really appreciate that as a child who's 10 years old, you could comprehend what's happening around you, and your teachers were training all the children in the school. It must have really been a great experience and a feeling for all those small kids. I wonder whether everybody of the, all the students who were around you could really understand what was being, waking up into a free India. On 15th morning, I want to wake up in free India. So what was the significance of this? That I am not free today, I am under British rule, and tomorrow I will be on my own. So whether this concept was actually, did it hit your mind then as a child, or it was just understanding from the teachers that yes, there's going to be a procession, I have to walk with the flag, and all the revelry that's going to happen around you? So was that the more important concept, or the teacher had driven into your mind that we were under British rule and today we are going to be free? So
honestly, I wouldn't know about the other schoolmates of mine, but I was fully aware.
Okay.
That's because of I used to read a lot. I used to hear a lot on the radio. We had a old that wall radio.
Yeah, the first kind of radio sets which we had.
Yes. And I had in fact insisted my father to buy it before almost a year before 1947, so that I could hear some news.
So you were privileged
I was privileged to
hear it on your own radio set in your house.
Yes, my own radio set in my house.
Okay.
How we were getting, and I used to get the news about this, what's happening around, what's Mahatma Gandhi is doing, what Chacha Nehru is doing, all these things which I was aware. I would know really how many other kids were aware.
My point was that the younger generation then, did they understand the significance of it, or like you said, you were very serious about these things. You had a radio, you knew what Father of the Nation was doing, and things like that. But then, how much time of your generation then, those 10-year-olds, I can say, would be spent on playing around, like after the school, going around in the farms, on the roads, or some serious thinking or a serious thought about what's happening around in the political circle or amongst the elders. What kids normally do, they sneak into what the elders are talking, what's happening around. And that is where they catch the significance of the current political or the social scenarios. So today's generation of 10 years old and your generation 10 years old, there's a great difference I feel, because the situation around them is different. Today we are already into a free India facing different types of problems.
Yes.
But then in 1947, children must be facing something different, like, because we were into this changeover period of not being independent and now independent, a free India. So how did that transition, or
In
do you
fact,
feel like there is a difference between the kids of today's 10 years old and your age in 1947?
Oh yes, there is a lot of difference. But going back to 1947, the difference between the fourth standard student like me in Madhya Pradesh, a place like Baitul, and a child of same age and school would be in Bombay, he would be much better off informed, I feel, of surrounding than what I was.
Even in 1947?
Oh yes, certainly.
That was the difference, like being in Madhya Pradesh and being in
Mumbai. Of course, I would put it that way.
Okay.
So, the other children or other students from my class, they were not as much aware of as I was because of my father.
And because you went from Panvel, Mumbai to Madhya Pradesh, you were more aware.
That is the reason I would put it here.
Okay.
Thank you. And that day, as I told you, we enjoyed a lot by after finishing the Prabhat Ferry and all that, and flag hoisting, etc. And then I remember for at least 2 to 3 hours on the school ground, we had various different kind of sports, like sack race, that to
part of celebration.
Then spoon and lemon race.
Okay.
All those races were there, not like the 100-meter and 50-meter race, not there. Those I remember having participated in one of them and having won a prize on that day.
Oh, lovely.
So I can
winning a prize on 15th August 1947.
On that day, the school competitions, it was a way of celebration. So I would say right from say 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, we went to school and we were there almost till up to 12 or so. And in between, of course, the snacks were being served and teachers were pampering us, and we were having really great fun.
And
it was great
dressed
fun.
up in a white kurta pajama?
Shorts, white shorts and white shirt.
And
most important was the thing, that small tiranga,
the tricolor on your shirt.
I was so extremely happy about it. Very extremely.
So I would like to know whether you had heard Chacha Nehru's first speech. Because he was Chacha Nehru for you.
Yes, of course.
More than the first Prime Minister of India.
Absolutely. But only thing that the speech was at midnight. If you know.
Yes.
And I think I was not awake, and probably my father or some other people may have heard him on the radio because it was obviously broadcasted on the radio. And I read it afterwards.
You read the
afterwards, yes. I didn't hear it personally.
Tryst with Destiny.
Tryst with Destiny. Read it a number of times later on.
Right. I'm supposed to be one of the greatest orations of the world, like they say.
But I had heard Chacha Nehru live on radio before 15th August. Yes.
Yeah, because you had the radio 1 year before independence.
So
that was really interesting that as a child you insisted.
And somehow I don't remember having heard much Mahatma Gandhi on the radio.
Oh really?
Maybe because somehow I was very much attracted towards Pandit Jawaharlal, Chacha Nehru. Very much.
And sir, did you find any kind of change or transformation in the social milieu before independence and after independence? Like before independence, what I comprehend is there was a lot of enthusiasm and vigor and valor amongst people because we wanted to attain something.
Yeah.
Now, when we are to reach a goal, there is that tempo which is building up.
Yes.
And once it is reached, then there could be some change beyond that. So, did you experience anything like that?
We in Betul, we didn't, as I told you, there was a large population of Muslims. And we didn't have a single small incidence of this violence at all.
Fortunate.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Fortunate.
So when we were hearing later on few days,
Yeah.
all that, riots and transmigration of the population, Hindus from Pakistan coming to India and Muslims from India going to Pakistan, and that those train crowded and all that, and massacre and all that. So we could hear, I used to hear some of those news later on, which was really saddening. But somehow we were very lucky that not an out of that bad ill feelings came to the Betul, which was really, really surprising. So whatever was happening in Delhi, Calcutta, all those places, I was aware of it, absolutely. But then nothing.
That particular incidents like of
Partitions and
people migrating
violence
from
and
communalism
and
but
violence.
did you not feel like, because you were an
Some-
intelligent child,
Yeah,
I want to
but-
ask this question to you, that whether you felt the communalism, you read about it later, but it did not happen around you.
It didn't happen around me, but I used to hear on radio again, and I used to read newspapers, and I used to get this terrible news from all over north,
Did it pinch you then?
It
Did it hurt
it
you?
did, very bad.
Did you ask your dad, why is this happening outside and not in Betul?
I used to
So
discuss with
Betul is in Itarsi. What's the
Itarsi,
distance?
Nagpur, Itarsi, hardly 200 kilometers from Itarsi. Bang in the center of India, you should say.
Yeah, I know.
Really.
I-
Bang in the center of India it is. And
I
even
belong to
now,
that place too.
and even now, later on, after 1947, I spent my childhood there. But in 1987,
Mhm.
40 years later,
Okay.
exactly 40 years
Exactly
later,
40 years.
as a doctor,
Yeah.
I had visited Betul, and same place from where we started Prabhat Ferry, and same school I went and saw, and I was so delighted to be there.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
main reason, in 1947 Independence Day, I spent my whole day in school,
In the school premises with
ground
the students and the
with
teachers.
students and everybody, teachers and all that. So those memories are really, really very pleasant memories, very sharp memories, and very, inspiring memories.
Today, if you think about it, do you feel that this was a big contrast to what we were actually trying to achieve? We wanted a secular, democratic nation, and what happened then, and even today, sometimes we do come across such incidences.
Yes, yes.
So, is this are we deviating from what we were trying to achieve? Or could we have stopped this? Or, I know this is a very big question. Anybody trying to stop what had happened then,
Yeah.
that's the darkest phase of Indian history.
Yeah.
I personally feel, because when I studied history,
Yeah.
partition and that, the instances narrated around that were
In
really
fact,
very dark.
most dark
and painful
period.
to
It was very painful and very dark period of Indian history. But having heard about it, or read about it, and seen the photographs of those tragic
Yeah.
incidences,
Yeah.
I had developed something like that in my whole life. Probably I would never dislike any other religion.
Any other religion. Oh,
I-
that's a
I got
wonderful
that.
message you are giving.
And this is what, when I became a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
the more I started treating patients,
Mm-hmm.
I started becoming more involved with this non-religious
You
discrimination.
you accepted all communities as yours.
Absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You never
For last almost
because
now-
that it hit you at the age of 10.
I am
tender age of 10
about 50 years in as a gynecologist.
as a gynecologist.
I have finished my gynecological degree, postgraduate in 67. So it is exactly 51 years. But 51 years, any female, whether she is Muslim, Hindu, Christian, Punjabi, Jain, Both, to me, I have never bothered to find out what she is, and I love to treat any woman equally, absolutely.
That's
51
right.
years as a gynecologist.
So
I've
you've
been
been
doing
a
it.
true Indian.
Yeah, absolutely.
A true
I've been doing it.
patriot.
And when I hear these days sometimes, or right from the day, I used to be in England for about 3 years.
Okay.
And there I learned a lot about having good relations with various people, you know. Very, I mean, in England nobody was worried whether I was Hindu, I was Pakistani, I was Bangladeshi, or I was Ceylonese. Nobody was worried about, you know, where you come from. They just thought that you are an Asian, all right. And this is what I feel even today. I wish that we all countries behave like good friends and
That's
Asians
very
more than Indians, Pakistanis, Bangladeshis,
Like
Nepalese.
every one of
everywhere.
us should be
Absolutely.
Indian, and you
Yeah.
got this lesson at the
Yeah.
tender age of 10.
And India.
Because
I
you
got
read
it.
all that news and then you
Absolutely.
decided that you will never
Yeah,
get into
yes,
this.
yes,
So
yes.
you will rise above all the differences.
Yeah, and I have been behaving like
That's a
that. for
wonderful
time.
message coming from you, sir.
I-
And I'm really proud that a 10-year-old kid could comprehend and understand that this is wrong. And I will not do this in my life.
And I
So that's
followed
and you
it.
followed
I
it all
followed
along.
it all
That's
along.
really nice.
70 years, and I have been still staunch advocate of non-communal, non-violent, and I still believe in Mahatma Gandhi's philosophy
That's
very
the key to
strongly.
peace. That's the key to peace and progress.
Yes.
Otherwise, we
I
cannot
would,
progress.
yes.
So, as a child, were you aware that at that time there was a need for the constitution to be framed, like a new constitution of India to be framed, and that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was to write it, of course with the other people also, but today we talk about him as architect of our constitution. So, as a child, were you aware of this?
I was fully aware. I was fully aware once after 15th of August 1947. Later on, I used to be in touch with all these political events, and especially what these men are doing. Mahatma Gandhi, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, Ambedkar, and all these, Siri Deshmukh for that matter, all these people, what they are doing in Delhi and all that, I was fairly aware of everything happening. So I was aware of that the Constitution Assembly is going to be formed, and Baba Ambedkar was the main architect of our Constitution, which will take few years before it gets into actual, proper, because a lot of great thinking was going on behind that. There was a big assembly of more than 250 great politicians from all parts of India. The Constituent Assembly was formed. All parts of India, all the great Rajaji and so many, from Calcutta, South and Bombay, everywhere. So that more than 250, I wouldn't know exactly number of members of Constituent Assembly, but yes, Constituent Assembly is being formed. Nehru, Patel and Ambedkar, these people are after all that. Ambedkar is in charge of really that chairman of the committee and all that, and somewhere the work would be starting.
Okay. Like today, the government asks for suggestions from a common man. We have portals where we can put in our suggestions. Was there anything like that around that time? Suggestions from common Indian?
I think, as far as I am concerned, in Betul, because I was in Betul till almost Constitution was formed, till 1951. I was already in Betul. And I don't remember anybody else talking about it. That opinion of people. Of course, the leaders in that area, they must have been
The
consulted.
public opinion must be going through the leaders to the top political.
True, because there was never something like now
the social networking and connectivity.
It was not there. So we, and again,
I just had that thought in mind when you said that I was following Mahatma Gandhi
Yeah.
and Chacha Nehru.
But-
I said today we follow on Twitter, we follow on Facebook. So how did you follow them?
I know.
You must
But
have followed.
I was probably in a position to write a letter,
Yeah.
but I didn't do that.
Yes.
To be honest, I didn't do that. But I could have probably written a letter to,
A beautiful thing which is forgotten today.
Yeah.
Writing letters.
I know, yeah.
And
I know.
posting them, yeah.
Posting them.
But then you.
But even I continue writing letters.
Oh, that's
I continue
nice.
writing. I email my son or my daughter,
Right.
write a short.
Right.
They may not get enough time to read my long letters, but at least I love to write the letters.
You should. It's really nice, a wonderful way of expressing. So any other particular incidents that you would like to narrate around that time which is with you even today? Something that hit you around the independence period or the struggle that you saw, you witnessed?
In fact, after 15th August 1947, within just about 6 months, a very tragic incident. On 30th Jan 1948, assassination of Mahatma Gandhi, which took place on 30th of Jan, and it was very, very saddening for me, very saddening, because I am born on 31st of Jan, so 31st of Jan used to be very, very happy day in my family, but in 1948, 31st of Jan, I had to spend mourning Mahatma Gandhi's death, and I had to, we were all from Betul, many people, and I joined them, many people from Betul. They gathered in the evening and went to the river bank there was a small river there, and they gathered there, and as funeral was going on in Delhi, Mahatma Gandhi, we had waited there during the same time. And that kind of, like
sharing the sentiment
grief,
in this way.
terrible grief, and which lasted for quite a long time for me to get over it, And I had almost had in my own mind, but probably not my family would listen to me, that from that year onwards, I should stop celebrating my birthday because
What a genuine noble thought in a child's mind.
At that time again I was
11 years old. 11-year-old
Yeah, 11 years old.
planning to not celebrate birthdays is.
But 11-year-old boys these days are much more mature.
Oh yeah. Because they are exposed to.
I would like to give you examples. The way very bad examples are there, but they are something like that.
Yes. I know we digress from what we are trying to achieve sometimes. It's just that we need to guide today's kids and youth properly. But if we have people like Dr. Arvind Pradhan around and being so active at the age of 81, I'm sure. So we need your blessings and your advice and support and guidance for many years to go still. And I wish you a very good health, a long life, and a happy life for many years.
Thank you very much.
And
My only wish to live these days is just to continue serving the poorest of the poor patients of this hospital. As long as I can stand, walk, act, operate, see properly, that's all. And I really don't want to, before going, I don't want to get confined to the bed.
No, sir, no. That's why I said wish you a very happy, healthy, and a long life. So here we had Dr. Arvind Pradhan, a gynecologist, a reputed gynecologist, and he very proudly says a Dombivlikar for last 46 years. He having graduated his medicine from the medical school of KEM and Wadia Hospital after that. Then he followed and pursued his further education in London and Edinburgh, back to Mumbai, and has been serving medicine for last 50 years as a gynecologist. And I'm glad to have spent so much time with you, sir, and listening to your experience around the first Independence Day was indeed a pleasure. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm happy, very happy.
Thank you.
And I must bless you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you.